Hello everyone, myself Juvera Siddha. Today in this session I am going to discuss about the sericulture. This is a topic from the economic zoology. So before understanding about the sericulture, let me tell you what is the sericulture. Culturing of anything is nothing but to grow, to do the implement in that field. So here what we are doing the sericulture, which is regarding to the culturing of silkworm. And why we are doing this sericulture? Why? Because we want to develop the industry for the production of silkworms. At the same time, what are the products which are come from the silkworms? So for that purpose, what we are doing, we are improving these industries as the culturing of the silkworm. So as we know, what is the silk? We know that silk is nothing but it is a thread, which is natural thread, which is come from the natural resource. So first of all, silk has been under use by human beings for the various purposes. As we know, silk cloth, whenever we listen about the silk, we just remember that silk cloth, which gives a very sober look, or we can say which is like a very much. And we know that silk is also called as the queen of the fibers. And high scale production of silk in the world, rearing, developing and the looking of the silk insects is termed as the sericulture. So we know that silk is a thread, it is used for so many purpose, but where from this silk is coming? This silk is coming from the insects. Those insects are called as the silkworms. And for the gaining that thread, what we have to do, we have to grow them, we have to rear them. For the growing is nothing but the rearing, to provide all the situation, all the suitable condition, to providing all this type of the condition to the worms and developing them for the purpose of gaining the silk. And this technique or this process is called as the sericulture. So for the definition, what we can say, rearing, developing and looking of silk insects is termed as the sericulture. So this is the sericulture. For the purpose of gaining the silk, what we are doing, we are providing all the suitable condition to grow them for gaining the silk thread. This is the definition for sericulture. And coming to the history, if we see the background, where from this silk thread is coming and what is the history behind this, let us see. Here the scientist, the person like the Lao Tzu is the empress of Quang Ti, discovered that origin of silkworms in the form of thread, but it was a technique was kept in secret. The sericulture technique was known to only China, and one who tried to open it hanged to the death. So the China people, whoever know the technique about the sericulture or the how the gaining the silk thread from the cocoon, and whoever knows, this is the first country, China is the first country, the people belong to the China. What they do, they know the technique how the silk thread is obtained from the cocoon. And one condition is there, whoever know about this technique and whoever tells to the others, they hang to be death, they are going to be die. Then this that is the secrecy was open when two spies from the Europe were sent to China. And then this secret, how it come to outside from the China, means two persons from the Europe, they are sent to the China to gain the information regarding to this. They are from the Europe and they sent to the China. First of all, where the technique is only belongs, this technique is belongs to only, where this technique is belong only to the China, but afterwards this is come the information outside the China. And we are telling that this is come from the silk worms. And what are the silkworms? Those silkworms are called as the silk moth. Moth means like butterfly. We see the butterfly, how it will be like the silkworms, also similar to the butterflies. They are called as like a silk moth. The silk producing machines is an insect called as the silk moth. Resham ka kira. It is also called as like a resham. Silk is commonly called as in the Hindi like could be like resham. So this type of insect which is produce the resham or which produce the silk is called as like a silk moth. And if you see the different types of and if you see the different types of silk moth like silk moths, they are basically like the four types. One is could be like a mulberry silk, which is a familiar one. The another one is the tussar silk. The another one is could be the eri and the moga. These four varieties are similar to the which is common and which come from the different sources to gain the silk fiber. And let us see one by one what are these. First of all, mulberry silk. This is the supposed to be superior in the quality to other types due to its shiny and the creamy color. This is the whenever we see the the another type of the which is the shiny and which is could be like the highly quality and it should be supposed to be superior quality. We can call it as like a superior quality, which is seems to be highly in quality and other due to its shiny. Why it could be in the highly or the superior quality? Why? Because it gives the shiny appearance like this. It gives the shiny appearance and it is secreted by caterpillar, and here the moth name is like a Bombyx mori. This is the moth. It belongs to that mulberry which eats the mulberry plants. It is a Bombyx mori and which feeds on mulberry leaves. And another one is like a tussar silk. It is come from the Antheria papilla and it is a common in the India, China and Sri Lanka. Its caterpillar feeds on bare and oak trees and fig plants. It feeds on the not only it does not feeds on the mulberry, but this insect is feed on the fig and the oak plants and the bare plants. And cocoon is hard and hence eggs shape. So what is the size of their cocoon? It could be like a egg of the hens, means which is common, we eat the egg from that hen, and it could be like the brown in color. What is the color? You can see here the color could be like a golden brown, or you can say the golden color, this tussar silk. And here the cocoon is measured in the size of the hen's egg, means it's somewhat large cocoon you can see in this tussar silk. And after the tussar silk, the another one is like a eri silk. It is come from like produced by the caterpillar of the Attacus ricini and which feeds on castor. It feeds on castor plant. Here you can see the different moth eats the different types of leaves. First the mulberry plant, mulberry silkworm eats on the mulberry plant, tussar eats on the oak plant, eri silk which eri caterpillar which feeds on the castor leaves. We know the castor. What is the castor? Castor is nothing but again where from we are extract the oil. That oil is common called as like a castor oil, and which is the extraction of the castor seeds. So whatever the castor leaves are there, that is come from the castor plant. That is the food for eri silk moth. And here the color, you can see the color. It could be like a creamy in the color, creamy to whitish like mulberry, but less shiny than compared to the mulberry silk. So mulberry silk is also somewhat creamy, tussar silk is golden in color, eri silk is in the creamy in the color. And after that, moga silk. This is a common name for that. This is a like Antheria assama, which is the native place of Assam. It is only seen into the Assam and good source of cottage industry. So let me tell you what is the cottage industry. Cottage industry is a small scale industry which could be take place into the small like sheds or the small area, small scale industries, where it is also called as like a indoor industry. Cottage industry means small like small sheds or the small scale industry where the small area is used for the production of any product. So it is also called as like a indoor industry or the cottage industry. And caterpillar feeds on the Michaelis plant. Here the feeding is like a Michaelis plant and some is like a domesticated. And here also you can see it could be like in the goldenish color or brownish. You can also say that it could be somewhat like a brownish or the golden color. So let me tell you what the four types we discuss. We discuss the four types. This is the first one, like mulberry silkworm. Let me tell you, this is the first one. This is the mulberry silkworm. Here the moth name is like a Bombyx mori. Okay, the second one is like a tussar silk, and this tussar silk is come from the Antheria papaya. And the airy silk, this is also come from the Cataccus racini, which feeds on the castor leaves, and it could be like a creamy in color. If you want to see the color, you can easily distinguish the color. Depend upon the color, you can easily separate and you can easily distinguish which type of cocoon belongs to the which type of the silk. And this is the Muga silk. It is only seen in the Assam. This is the native place of the Muga silk, Assam. And you can see the threads. By seeing this picture, you can easily differentiate how and the color and the shining. See, the first one is like a Bombyx mori, which is like a pure or whitish in color or the creamy in color, which could be like somewhat shiny, and it is like a superior in quality. And then airy, it is also somewhat like creamy in color. And then tussar, this is like a tussar silk, and this is a Moga silk. It is also tussar in the another different color. So tussar silk is belong to the brownish in color and somewhat in the golden in the color. By the color only you can differentiate by the externally which cocoon is belong to the which type of silk moth. Until now we discuss about what are the four varieties of the different types of the silk: mulberry silk, tussar silk, airy silk and the Muga silk. And after that we are going to discuss about the life cycle of silk moth. What is the life cycle of silk moth? Here we can see the first the life cycle of Bombyx mori moth. See, this is moth is similar to the, this is the moth, this is a silkworm. Okay, this is a silkworm which feeds on the mulberry leaves, and this is could be seen to be like the butterfly, and that's why this is also called as like a moth. M-O-T-H. So this is the moth which belongs or which is similar to the insect like the butterfly. What are the physical characteristics? Here physical characteristic means external appearance. How? And it should be seen by externally. It is in the pale in color, means somewhat dull color, creamy or the ashy white in color. If you see the color of this moth, it is like a cream color or the ash color. 2.5 to 3 centimeter long and covered with small collar, and body is divided into head, thorax and abdomen. So for that what we have to know, see, this is the part, anterior part is called as the head, and after that part this anterior body part is called as the thoracic, and this lower part is called as the abdomen. This is abdomen and this one is the thorax, and this anterior part is called as the head. So if you see the body distinctions or body partitions, first the anterior part is head, and then body part. Body anterior part is the thorax region, and body lower part is called as the abdominal regions, and these are the wings. What it is called? This is called as like a wings, like the butterfly wings. Then here is the big having the large compound eyes and a pair of antennae. What are the antennae? Let me tell you. These are the antennae. These two. A pair of antenna. This sends the environmental stimuli. This is the antennae. Are the antenna. These are the a pair of antennae is present which could be sends the external information. And then head is big having the large compound eyes and a pair of antenna. Thorax is strong, muscular, 3 segmented structure provided with spiracles, 2 pair of wings and 3 pair of legs. So if you see the wings, how many pairs? 2 pair of wings are present. One is the larger one, another one is the smaller one. If you see the wings, 2 pair of wings are present, and legs, here how many legs? 3 pair of legs are present. And abdomen is covered with the scales and highly extended in the female, whereas narrow in the male. Sexes are separate, sexual dimorphism in exit. So what is the meaning of this sexes are separate? Means male is the separate moth and the female is the separate. You can differentiate the male and the female depending upon the sizes. Male is in the small in size than the female. Females are larger. Okay, whatever the female moths are there, female butterfly like moths are there, they are the larger than compared to the male. These are like a females. Females are the larger. And females live for 2 to 3 days, but males are some die during the copulation. Once the female copulate, they lay the eggs all fertilized till she dies. So after the fertilization, the females are going to be die after laying the eggs. One moth lay eggs about the 400 to 500 eggs depending upon the climatic condition and the nutrition. So here from the one insect, how many moths are producing? Near about 400 to 500 moths are eggs are producing from the one single moth. And what are the stages of life cycle? As we know, the life cycle of insect is depend upon the egg stage, larva stage, means different developmental stages are seen into the life cycle of any insect. So here if we talk about the life cycle of this Bombyx murri or this insect, it is could be like egg. First stage of that life cycle is the egg. Why? Because the insect is produced from the egg to larva, larva to pupa, pupa to adult butterfly like mouth. So this is the 4 stages. We can see the first stage of the life is, this is the first stage, this is the egg. How the egg should be? Let us see. Eggs are rounded and white. With increase in time, egg become darker day by day. So first of all, how it should be? It should be like white in color, but how the size will be increases and the time, as the time period, they become the darker in color. The 2 types of eggs are present. One is the dipause, another one is the non-dipause. Eggs are laid by silkworm, inhibiting in the temperate region. All vital activities are ceased. Non-dipause, like it should be like silkworm belong to subtropical region like the India. If the temperature is high, then at this condition, this is a temperate means high temperature area where all the activities could be stopped. Ceased means stopped. Non-dipause region where the subtropical like our India, means here the heat and the cold temperatures are in the medium condition. As a result, the eggs will show their activity. So these are the moth and these are the eggs which is secreted on the leaf. These are all the eggs. At a time, as such I told no, this secret approximate 400 to 500 eggs may be laid from the egg. This is the adult moth. This is the adult moth. This is like a moth which secrete the eggs. And then caterpillar hatches from the eggs are 5 to 7 millimeter in the length, and this is the second stage. Egg is the first stage and the caterpillar stage is the second stage of the life cycle. Hatches from eggs are 5 to 7 millimeter in length. Body is rough, wrinkled and the grayish in the color. Okay, before telling this, I want to show the this is the picture for the caterpillar. So in the rainy season, you can see some of the like insects which are crawling on the ground, on the land area, like the greenish or the brownish color, small and the soft body like organisms. These organisms are called as the caterpillar. As such, I know you people are also seen in the rainy season. Some small moths, some worms are there, soft body animals are there. These are all which is attached to the leaves. and basically these caterpillars are attached to the leaf. Not only the silkworm caterpillars, another caterpillar like butterfly caterpillar and the another insect caterpillar stages are attached to the leaf. In the rainy season or in the spring season, you can see these are attached and these are fixed with the leaves of the plants. So now some points regarding to this caterpillar. It is hatches from the eggs are 5 to 7 millimeter in length and body is in the rough wrinkle and the grayish in color. It have the 12 segment distinct into 3 parts. So the body divides into 3 parts: head region, thoracic region and the abdominal region. As such, suppose if you want to see any insect body partition or division of the body, first of all what are the parts are there? First is the head region, and after that the insect the thoracic region, and lastly the abdominal region. So this is the head region, and this is the thoracic region, and this is the abdominal region. So insect body is divided into 3 parts: head part, head region, and then thoracic region, and then abdomen. And this abdominal region is also divided into somewhat segments like this segmentation you can see into the abdominal region. Head is in the mandibulate mouth parts, feeds on the leaf. Thorax has 3 segments, bear a pair of true jointed legs. So again if we see the body structure of this is the head, and the second part what I told, this is the thorax, and this thorax is also divided into 3 segments. How many segments? 1 to 3 segments are present, and with those 3 segments what are those? A pair of true jointed legs, means here the legs are also arises from this thoracic region. These are like a X, and then this part is called as the abdominal region. 3 segments you can see into the insect body. Abdomen has 10 segments, and then this is the lower part of the body which is the abdomen. How many segments are you can see in the abdomen? You can see the 10 segments into the abdomen, 3 segments into the thoracic region. And the larva feeds on the mulberry leaves and grow very quickly, stop feeding, become inactive after 4 to 5 days, then first molting occurs. The second stage larva is similar to the first one but slightly larger. Eat for 7 days and second molt occur, and third larva form. Larvae repeat this process 4 times, and this larvae, how many larval stages you can see? 4 times the larva will be formed. First larva, then it will be, so see what is the meaning of this molting? Molting means changing the structure from the one form to the another form. This is the molting. A molting means first larva stages converted into the second stages, second larva changes into the third stages, third larva stage changes into the fourth larva. So how many times will be changes? The 4 times the changes you can see into the larval stages. And maturity is achieved in the 45 days since time of hatching, and matured caterpillars are now 7 to 10 centimeters. By this time, formation of pair of salivary glands is completed. Salivary glands secrete the silk that are also called as the silk glands. And after the caterpillar, the next stage in the life cycle, that is the pupa. Fully formed instar. Okay, this is the pupa. In this pupal stage only the cocoon is formed, which is surrounded itself by the cocoon, and from there cocoon threads will be captured. The silk thread formed from this stage only. So see how the caterpillar, this is the segment, this is the caterpillar which could be goes inside and form into converted into the pupa stage. And this is the pupa stage. It surrounded itself with this hollow shell. This is the hollow shell, outer covering. See here, pupa, it is a fully formed instar larva, undergoes the physiological changes and become the restless. Due to the intrinsic hormonal reasons, and move its heads in the reeling position constantly and repeatedly rotates head and its axis, and in meantime saliva comes out through a small pore known as the spinneret. So this is the spinneret. Small pore is present from where the saliva is coming. From that saliva it secretes the silk gland, and it consists the sericin, which is a chemical in nature. Okay, sorry. Though this is sericin, which is in the chemical in nature. Okay, located on the tip of hypopharynx in the mouth, there is a continuous flow of saliva through this pore, spinneret. And after that, cocoon. What is the cocoon? White color. So this is the silk cocoon, like the white thready ball, like cotton ball. You can see the cotton ball, the how the cotton is extracted. Similarly, here for the obtaining the threads of the, these all are the threads which is come from the this cocoon. This is a cocoon, and how it could be seen? This is seen as a cotton ball, where from we can get the natural cotton thread. It is similar to the cotton ball. What is the color of this? White color. Bed of the pupa, whose outer threads are irregular and inner threads are regular. Threads length is about 1000 to 1200 meter in the concentric manner. Binding of threads around cocoon is very quick, that is 65 times per minute. Now silkworm pupa is covered with thick ovule and white or yellow skin silken cocoons. It could be like, what are the colors of this cocoon? You can see the, it may be like the white color or oval in shape, means the shape, this shape is called as the oval in shape, and it could be like the yellow color or in the white in color. And the next stage is called as like a emergence of imago. This is the small butterfly like moth which is called as the imago. It is come outside the pupa, outside the cocoon, which break the lid, the smaller the anterior part. This is the anterior lid. This is the opening from where this moth is coming outside, and this moth at this stage is called as the imago. So what is this? Active metamorphic changes take place during the pupation, in which abdominal prolix disappears through thorax, develop two pairs of wings. Pupa is metamorphosed into young adult moth in 12 to 15 days, called as the imago. It secretes a long alkaline fluid that softens one end of cocoon and come out. So how the cocoon will be break? By the secretion of these acids. Alkaline fluid means by secretion of this chemical, it could be break the cocoon and come outside the cocoon. So you can see in this picture, this is the life cycle. First of all, here two moths are pairing, they are going to be coupled each other. After that, eggs are produced in this stage, and eggs are hatch, which is come from the butterfly or the moth, and young larvae is formed, which is the 10 days larvae which feed on the mulberry leaves or the, and then 14 days stage, and then cocoons are mounted. These cocoons are fixed on the any chalky or any what we can say bamboo sticks, and after that they are hatching or harvesting, taking out of these type of the cocoons, and lastly moth emerges from 12 to 10 days, 10 to 12 days. If we want the thread, we have to kill this moth, we have to boil the, or we have to pressurize, or we have to treat these cocoons with the hot water. What we have to do? We have to dip into the hot water, then only we can remove the thread. And see this, the total process here. What is the sericulture? This is a multi-volatile having the several broods within a year. Multi-volatile means so many times in a year they are going for the breeding, means they are becoming the adult and they lays the eggs. They are the domestic types and can be reared indoors, means it like a cottage industries. Large and healthy cocoons are selected, kept in ventilated cages, emerge after few days. Male and females are distinguishable. As I told now, you can identify the male and female moths. Kept in pairs in coupling jar for 24 hours. Couplet jar and they become couplet. Females are transferred to egg laying boxes made of cardboard. Female lays near about approximate 300 to 400 eggs. Tools and materials. What are the tools which are used for this? Machana. Proper place for the rearing silkworms. Machana means where we are going for the rearing purpose. Then rearing trays, or you can kept into the trays. So see here how this is like a machana where all the leaves are spread on all these leaves. These caterpillars are crawling, or this tray by using the tray, or by this bamboo baskets. On this bamboo basket also you can lay these caterpillars. So what are the tools which are used for this? The first one is machana, where the proper place of rearing. Okay. The second one is rearing trays, by using the trays. And then spinning trays for the threading, for the spinning purpose of the silk, for keeping the caterpillars at time of fully grown stage ready for pupation. And then dalas for fetching mulberry leaves, chopping knives for cutting the leaves, baskets distribute the mulberry leaves, and hygrometer, the thermometer, oven and the freezer are also used. And the another step for that is the rearing. What are the different stages of the rearing? If you see the different stages of rearing of silkworm, basically it may be like 5 stages you can see. The first stage is like the supply of eggs. Quality of the seeds is important. This is the one thing which has to be remember. The only those eggs are given that has been produced in a well recognized grainage. Grainage means related to the seeds. Here the seeds are nothing but the eggs, whom we are calling as the seeds. Seeds are nothing but like a eggs. Okay. And then incubation of eggs, this is the second stage. Incubation condition should be optimum. It could be like the normal in condition. For univoltine eggs 73.5 to 77 Fahrenheit, or for the bivoltine it could be like the 80 degree Fahrenheit. For multivoltine it could be like 80 degree. Okay. And then what is the humidity? 75 to 80%. For incubation, seeds are spread on the piece of paper in the rearing tree. And brushing of worms, this is the third stage. To separate the newly hatched worms from the shells of their eggs by means of a feather, the process of brushing is spread finely chopped mulberry leaves on the egg sheet after the 95% eggs are hatched. So after the hatching they have to be separated with the feather. Where from we have to separate, where from we have to brush them. After the growing, after the coming from there, they have to be separated. And then the newly emergent worms crawl on the top of the feed and then transferred to the rearing trays. After that they have to be transferred to the rearing trays. What are the rearing worms? It is requires the following. What it needs? First of all, they want the rearing room. One rearing room should be necessary. Ventilated rearing room, how it could be like poultry farms are there for the birds rearing. Here also the rearing room is there for the silkworm, to grow the silkworm in the good condition. Ventilated, protected against direct sun rays, well disinfectant with 2% of formalin. It could be clean by using of the 2% of formalin. This is a disinfectant. It stop or it avoid the infections. And rearing appliances, what are the tools which we want to use at the time of the rearing? Wooden rocks, chopping knives, leaf storing baskets, gunny cloth pieces, door curtains. These all are important for the rearing appliances. Are the material, you can understand that what is the appliances. These are nothing but like a apparatus which is used for the rearing. Leaves and their preservation. Harvested by cutting and the plucking of the leaves, preserved by keeping in basket covered with the gunny cloth. Feeding, feed with the mulberry leaves at different intervals. Different stages of larvae needs the different amount of food. So what we see about in the rearing, what are the 5 stages? Supply of egg, this is the first stage, and then incubation of the eggs, and then brushing of the worms, rearing of the worms. And what are the necessities for the rearing? That is the rearing room, rearing appliances, leaves and their preservation, and then feed. And cleaning also important, where we have to maintain the healthy and the hygienic condition. We have to remove whatever the excreta will be formed at the time to time. And spacing is also important. Why? Because they need the ventilation necessary to give the proper spacing. Avoiding the overcrowdedness means we have to keep them into the equally ventilated conditions. And spread of diseases, providing high temperature at first 2 stages, that is 80 to 85 Fahrenheit, and in the third to 4 stages the 10 degree is lower with humidity of 85 to 90%. And after that, mounting and the harvesting. Harvesting means taking out. After gaining into the proper growth, they have to be separated. That process is called as the harvesting. When the worms is fully grown and appetite fails, become restless and start spinning out of the cocoon, put into the cocoonages, where they are going to be produce the cocoons. What is the fifth one? Spinning of the cocoons. Period in which worms stop feeding and start secreting a pasty substances from silk gland. Worms picked up and put in the spinning tray and kept in position of slope to the sun for short periods. Within 3 days, spinning is done. Means secreting the pasty substances which is come from the salivary glands or which is come from the silk glands, and cocoon is formed. Last stage of the rearing. And then quality of the cocoon. It depends on the raw silk, filament length, reliability, and the splitting. Which is a stronger one thread is produced, means it consists of high quality. If it is going to be break, then it is in the low quality. So depend upon their strength, their reliability, their length, the quality of the silk. This is depend upon the quality of the cocoon. And then marketing of the cocoon. After getting the cocoon, we have to take place into the marketing to gain the prices. Post cocoon processing, the method of obtaining silk from the cocoon is called as the post cocoon processing. It includes the stifling and the reeling. Stifling is nothing but the killing of cocoons. The killing of cocoon means we have to keep the cocoons into the hot water. That process is the stifling process, and after that we have to make the reels. We have to remove the threads, and that remove threads is fixed on one large reels, and that process is called as the reeling process. 8 to 10 days cocoon selected, dropped into hot water, helps in unwinding, sun exposure to the 3 days. And the reeling process. What is the reeling? As you know, reeling means nothing but to do the reel, to surround one thing on the to surround the threads on any reel. Process of removing threads from the killed cocoons, and then threads are transferred to the large wheels, then to the spools called as a reeled silk. And waste outer layers and damaged cocoon or threads are separated and filaments are spun. This spun silk is called as a spun silk. Raw silk is further boiled, stretched and purified by acid or by fermentation, carefully washed again and again. So see how the rearing will be seen. You can see this rearing. These bamboo baskets or the trays are there, which could be placed into one stand, where the rearing all the larvae come outing from the eggs. And here this is called as the chalky, and round bamboo baskets is there, on which this cocoon, this whitish color cocoons are fixed, and after they are getting the caterpillar come and fix on this and they convert it into the cocoons. And after this we have the diseases. What are the different types of diseases which the silkworm moth has to be suffer or have to be overcome in the life cycle? Grass-tree disease. This is a viral formation of polyhedral bodies in the body fluids. Hypodermic infections control is difficult. Prevention include that is the sterilization of tools, optimum temperature, cleaning and proper spacing. This is a fungal infection, as we can say the viral infection. And the pebrine disease, most serious one. This is caused by the protozoan parasites Nosema bombyx, affecting young larvae by loss of appetite, irregular molting and growth. Muscadian disease, it is like a fungal infection, loss of appetite, specks appears on skin, body become limp, elasticity loose and movement stop, death appearances of the white spores. This is the Muscadian disease infected moth. So see normal how it could be, and it will be infected. The moth will be, the caterpillar will be infected by the diseases. And what are the predators? If you want to go for the predators, that is the Tricholiga bombyx. Parasites flies lay eggs near body of caterpillar. Larva upon hatching feeds on tissue of caterpillar that dies. Canthocona, that is the Fincellata or the tranchid fly. It have the long rostrum with the help of which penetrates body of silkworm. Hemolymph oozes out and worm will be die. Ants are also the predators which eat the silk moth caterpillars, and hornets, bats, kites, etc. It feeds on the, which acts as the predators. And what are the properties of silk? This is like a pasty secretion of the silk gland, modified salivary glands, and when the contact with air become the hard and form the strong silk strands. Secretion forms two cores of fibrinogen, tough elastic insoluble protein cemented together with sericin, gelatinous, easily soluble in the warm water. These are all the qualities of a perfect proper silk. Wax and carotenoids are also detected. And we have the uses of silk. What are the uses of silk here? The first one, if you see the major uses of silk, it may be useful for the silk cloth preparation. It is a synthetic fibers, for the preparation of synthetic fibers, for the military purposes, fishing fibers you can also use, and the parachute preparation, and tires of racing cars, insulation coils of telephones, medical dresses, and the suture materials. And thank you. I think this is the topic we cover all the topics regarding to this. What is the definition for sericulture? What we discuss? We discuss about what are the properties of sericulture. Let me tell you fast a brief glance for this, like a summarize like structure. What we discuss about the definition and what is the history of the sericulture and the different types of the silk moth. Basically 4 types are there: mulberry, eri, moga, and the tussar is there. What are the qualities for those? And after that we discuss about the life cycle of that. What are the life cycle and how it should be physically appeared? It could be like egg and caterpillar stages, and after that pupa stages, and after that cocoon formation, emergence of imago, and once it forms and how the life cycle will be completed, and what is the sericulture, and how the what are the materials, tools and the materials which is required for that. Rearing of silk moths, what is the rearing industry, how the rearing room could be prepared, what are the conditions rearing room should be, what is the temperature, what is the humidity, and how it could be maintained, what spaces is there, spacing, how much spacing could be there, maintain spinning cocoons, and these are all the qualities behind that. What are the different types of the diseases also I discussed. The diseases could be like the viral diseases, or maybe the bacterial diseases, or protozoan diseases like the pebrine disease, And what are the different types of the predators? We discuss about the predators also. What are the how many types of the predators which eats on the silk moth, and what are the properties of silk, and finally the uses of silk. I think I end up with this topic. Thank you.